Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about your June horoscopes and what you can expect from the first month of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, before we begin, I would like to start off by saying that you should listen to both the horoscope for your sun sign and your rising sign, because you might find that your rising sign is horoscope-wise a bit more relevant for you, because for instance when we look at transits charts, which are the most accurate horoscopes that you can get out there, and FYI, if you want to get a transits chart you can reach out to me. So that is a personalized horoscope and that is as accurate as it gets. But going back to why you should look at your rising sign horoscope as well, because in transits chart, that's where we start off counting basically in the transits chart. So the conclusion is listen to both your sun sign horoscope and your rising sign horoscope. By the way, rising is the same thing with ascendant. Now, if you don't know what your rising/ascendant sign is, I've left a link in the description box down below. It's a link to an online natal chart generator, and it's free, and there are tons of online natal chart generators out on the internet. All you need to do is put in your date, time, and place of birth, and boom, you've got your natal chart, and your rising sign is on the eastern horizon. So that's where we start counting the houses in your natal chart. So without further ado, let us begin with Aries as per usual. My lovely Aries, what has June got in store for you? So we've got, to sum up, I'm going to start with a recap. So we've got a new moon in Gemini on June 3rd. We've got a full moon on the 17th of June in Sagittarius. And from the 21st of June onwards, we've got the sun entering Cancer. What does it all mean for you? So let's start with the new moon in Gemini on June 3rd. Now, new moons are symbolically representatives of new beginnings, and they basically set the tone for the next 12 months in that particular area of your life. Now, Gemini, my dear Aries, rules for you your third house of siblings, communication, learning, and when I say learning, I'm referring to learning practical skills and more like practical, logical kind of course that you may take on, because higher education and higher learning is actually ruled by Sagittarius for you. So going back to what Gemini rules for you and what this 3rd of June new moon is going to bring to you, I would say it's very likely going to bring a new beginning in an area related to education, learning, short distance travel. So 3-4 days before the 3rd of June and 3-4 days after the 3rd of June, you might find that you have to travel around to like neighboring cities or around your neighborhood a lot more. It is also a fantastic time for you to go out and make connections and network with people, because you might bump into people who you've got a lot of things to learn from. And it's a very good time to start thinking about a strategy when it comes to your long-term networking plans. It's also a very good time for you to sell something, or if you are in some sort of business or field that involves selling, reassess your strategy, think of the things that you could do better in the next year, and think of practical ways in which you need to apply these things. And maybe you have like some sort of a revelation and you realize, actually, I need to start learning XYZ because all these things are going to be useful for me in the long run. So it's a fantastic time to embark on a new learning journey. Now, you might also hear news from a sibling, news that can be quite life-altering when it comes to siblings in general, because your sibling might have like some sort of like plans that involve you and you didn't expect them. And I have to say, both the new moon on the 3rd of June and the full moon on the 17th of June are There are quite tense moments in this month, so new beginnings can be exciting, but they can also be quite frightening. Now, be very careful not to overdo things on this new beginning journey that the 3rd of June is opening up in front of you. So if you are selling something, don't overpromise and don't overstretch yourself. If you need to buy something, same thing. If you are moving, because the 3rd house also rules moving around in the area, be very, very careful what you spend your money on, because you, like I said, might be prone to overdoing things and biting off more than you can chew. Does that sound familiar, Aries? I don't know, just to put it out there. I know you don't necessarily like to exercise caution, but it is my duty as your astrologer to flag things up to you regardless. Now, there might be a little bit of smoke and mirrors out there, especially when it comes to moving, or when it comes to sealing a new sales deal. There might be things that you are not aware of that are going to come to surface in the next few days. So my advice is read things, read the fine print, take your time to go through like contracts with a fine-tooth comb, because we've got the new moon in a tense aspect with Neptune. Neptune is all about smoke and mirrors and illusions and making things look more glamorous than they actually are. So if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 9th house. Are you traveling, my dear Aries, around the 17th of June? This is a fantastic month, I have to say, Aries, for you to push your boundaries, which is something that you're very comfortable in general with doing anyway. You just throw yourself into things. That's how I see you, Aries, and I have yet to meet an Aries who makes me change my mind about this approach. This is a really good month for you to travel around, and I have to say, traveling, even though it is very likely this month, both short distance travel around the 3rd of June new moon, and long distance travel, so traveling abroad around the 17th of June, travel is very likely, but it is going to be stressful. I cannot lie to you, because things are very likely to be not what they seem at first glance. The emphasis this month is on you either traveling or expanding your horizon and understanding how little you know and how much you've got to learn. So it's a fabulous month if you've got any sort of like education plans that you've parked for a while, that you've been like mulling over for a while. This is a really good month for you to embark upon them. You might be scared, you might be frightened, you might be, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? As scary as it may seem or sound, it is necessary for you to embark upon this journey. And the journey can be mental or it can be physical. Last but not least, after the 21st of June, the sun enters into Cancer, which is your house of home. So I'd say that traveling is kind of like over, more or less. It's time for you for like a month to focus on your home and for how you can, on things that you can do to improve your home. And that's it, my dear Aries. Now let us move on to Taurus. Taurians, what can you expect from the month of June? First of all, I have to say the emphasis this month for you, my lovely Taurians, is on money. Your money and other people's money. Money that you earn and money that you either owe to other people or other people will just take from you. Or maybe you owe institutions some sort of money. Or maybe you need to collect money from some sort of institution. In any case, I'd say the month of June very much revolves around your finances. So we've got a new moon on the 3rd of June in your 2nd house of earned income. Now, you know me. I like to say from the very beginning that new moons are the equivalent of new beginnings. It is a time for you to manifest how you want to make money and what you want to make money out of. It is very possible that around the 3rd of June, 3-4 days before, 3-4 days after, because the new moon impacts the days around it, you might be presented with an opportunity to make money from a new source, which might actually prompt you, I'd say, to give up on an old source of money and close a particular chapter in your life. Because in order for us to like enjoy or make the most of a new beginning, unfortunately or fortunately, we do have to like shut down and close the past chapter in order to be able to fully concentrate and give our best to the new chapter opening up in front of us. Now, it is very possible that the new source of money is going to come from you either from abroad, or it has some sort of like involvement with foreign lands, foreign people, foreign businesses, international environments. We might literally just have to travel in order to make it. It will take you out of your comfort zone. It will stretch you. It will feel like it requires a lot of effort from you. And you might also not like it very much because it feels like a lot of the factors that go into this new source of income are outside of your control. Now, I say this to you, my dear Taurians. You've got 2 years in which you need to make sure that you accept every sort of like broadening of horizons opportunity that comes your way. And you've got 2 years ahead of you till the end of 2020, till December 2020, with Saturn traveling through your 9th house of long distance travel and higher education. So this new source of income that I keep on talking about might be very well linked with traveling and with getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of the neighborhood that you've grown in and that feels like the most comfortable place to be in, and maybe you have like no desire to do that, but are you gonna progress if you don't do it? Probably not. That's what I wanted to get to. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 8th house. Now, both the new moon and the full moon are quite tense this month. I'm not gonna lie to you, so there's gonna be a lot of tension around the 3rd of June and around the 17th of June. Full moons are culminations. They represent the peak of a project. They represent the peak of a situation that you found yourself in. Around the 17th of June, you might have to like actually pay your taxes or pay what you owe to your partner or like some sort of institution or higher authority. It's not gonna feel nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. You might feel quite stressed. You might feel like you have to give away too much of your hard-earned cash, but you cannot escape it, I'm afraid, and you can't follow your dreams without doing this. It might also feel like you need to pay for the privilege of hanging out with like certain people and hanging out with a certain group of friends, I would say. Don't stress out that much because you are like a money magnet, my dear Taurus, so it will all come back to you. Now, last but not least, the 17th of June is also quite a tense time from a sexual point of view and from a power struggles point of view. So if you guys are in a partnership or in some sort of like committed relationship or in any sort of relationship whatsoever, I've got to say, it is possible that you might feel like you are losing control and you start doubting your own values and your own worth, and the relationship can feel quite challenging, and it might feel very challenging on a mental level, and you might start having doubts about, are we aligned? Do we have the same vision of life? Do we have the same system of reference? How is this going to work out? Now, first impulse might be, Jesus, this is not going to work out because I, like a Taurus, I'm not going to change my mindset and I don't want to change and I'm fine the way I am. Actually, this full moon calls for you to change your mindset. It calls for you to question what you thought was valuable and worthy, and you're going to be surprised at how much you can grow if you are willing to let go of outdated patterns and outdated mindsets that no longer serve you. So I'm going to let you take that in and decide what you're going to do with it. That is Taurus. Now let us move on to Gemini. Gemini, what is up with you this month? So the emphasis for you in June, which most of it is like your birthday month, the emphasis is on you and how the world sees you and how the world perceives you and how you want to present yourself to the world versus the other. And when I say the other, I say people who you are in a partnership with, in a relationship with, in a marriage with. Now, on the 3rd of June, I was about to say the 1st, on the 3rd of June, we've got a new moon in Gemini, in your sign, in your first house. This new moon, which is symbolically representative of a new beginning, as I like to say, is probably going to be a whole new chapter in your life when you decide who you want to be, and you realize that actually the person who you want to be, or that the person that you are becoming, is not necessarily who you thought you would be and who you thought you would become over the years. And that's fine. I mean, it's challenging, but it's fine, and you're willing to accept it. It might not be something that your partner readily agrees to. Or it might actually be your partner pushing you, pressuring you in some shape or form, maybe directly, maybe in an indirect way, to become more than you currently are, to expand yourself, to think outside the box, to push your limits, to push your boundaries. You're going to feel challenged, but I think you're going to realize that actually all of this is good for you. And pushing your limits is actually not that bad at all. Now, you might be a little bit confused as to what steps you need to take and how that impacts your relationship with your significant other in the long run. But I say, this is a very fluid time, my dear Gemini, and you as a mutable sign do very well in fluid times, and you're very adaptable and very flexible. I would say it is time for you to take a deep breath, acknowledge the changes that you need to apply upon yourself, and see what the universe opens up in front of you, because the waters might feel quite muddied, and even though you acknowledge the need for change, you might be like, hell, I'm lost. I have no idea what to do with this. I have zero clues as to where to go and what's next. Take your time, take it all in, and see what doors open up in front of you, because it might actually be your partner opening up that doors and offering you those opportunities that you are in need of. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 7th house. Full moons are culminations. They can bring crises, but they can also bring rewards, and they can bring endings to chapters in our life. Now, this full moon is happening in your 7th house of home and partnership. So around the 17th of June, you might realize that actually you are ready to move in with your partner. You are ready to take your relationship to the next level, whatever that level is. You might actually be met with a little bit of, I wouldn't say resistance, but ambiguity from your partner. And whilst you do operate well in an ambiguous, chaotic environment, because your mind is very good at sifting through all this information and various sources, etc., you might actually feel quite uncomfortable about this sort of ambiguous kind of situation that you find yourself in partnership-wise. And you might realize that actually I'm going to speak up and I'm going to tell my partner what I want from this relationship, and I'm going to tell them what I need and how I want this to progress. And that's a good thing. even though the response might not be what you want it to be, it's a good thing to take steps in the direction where you want this to go. Because, like I said, the universe is muddying things up, and maybe you're receiving like mixed messages from your partner, and they're not making it any easy for you. Now, from the 21st of June onwards, the focus moves on you and how you make money, and also what you consider yourself worthy and valuable for. And you might actually feel like you're getting a surge of self-confidence after the 21st of June, because you realize how valuable you are and how awesome you are and how much you deserve to be appreciated for this. Also, it's a fantastic time to ask for a raise. Just saying, just to put it out there. This month, from the 21st of June till next month, when the sun moves from Cancer to Leo, I would say is the best time to focus on your finances and focus on your worth and ask what you are due. And that is Gemini. My lovely Cancerians, myself included, because I'm a Cancer rising. Hey, what does June have in store for you? So the first part of June, I would say, is very much focused on you finding time for yourself. Relax, retreat, meditate, look inwards. The reason why I'm saying this is because we've got a new moon in Gemini on June the 3rd in our 12th house. Now, the first week of June, I would recommend that you go away, you take a holiday, you turn your phone off, and you disconnect from the world, because it is a fantastic time for you to get spiritual insight as to where you are at, what you need to do in order to assuage your fears, your anxieties, and whatever tumultuous feelings are rumbling inside of you. I say it's very important for you to disconnect from the world, even though, and I admit, it is very likely that the world, and especially your work, is going to be banging at your door saying, pay attention to me, it's all going crazy without you. So it's not going to be easy, but you can do it, and please do it. You might feel like you are on some sort of like spiritual quest, and that you start either like doubting all the things that you believed in, or you are receiving some sort of like spiritual insight, but you don't know exactly what to make of it yet, and it doesn't necessarily fit in with your wider beliefs. You don't need to make a decision now, and you do not need to apply what sort of insight you are receiving and the things that you are realizing and coming to terms with. You don't need to apply them straight away, even though that might be the first sort of like impulse that you have. It is a very powerful time from a mental and spiritual point of view for you. You might, in maybe not the most comfortable way, you might realize that things that you used to believe in and that sort of like made sense no longer make sense and are no longer relevant for you, and you just need time on your own with yourself in your own private space without allowing the energy of other people to interfere with that. Last but not least, you might be introduced to some sort of like new spiritual like technique, or you might meet someone who introduces you to it, and it might all seem like vaguely familiar because we've got your 12th house of past lives involved and karma. So it might ring a bell, but it's very likely that it's not the most comfortable bell within you. So it stirs up things within you, and you don't need to do anything about it yet. Just take it in, take time for yourself, enjoy the silence as much as possible, and you'll have plenty of time to apply the new learnings that are being fed to you around the new moon. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 6th house. The 6th house is the house of day-to-day work, of co-workers. It is also the house of your routines, your health, your general wellness and well-being. Full moons are, I'm not gonna lie to you, they tend to be quite stressful because emotions are running high, but they also tend to bring endings and culminations to certain situations. So it might feel like some sort of like work related matter finally comes to a close, finally comes to an end. Maybe you're like very happy to see it go. Maybe you're a little bit stressed about the fact that, okay, this is ending, I can see it. We've also got a T-square in mutable signs at the time of the full moon in Gemini. So we've got the sun, the moon conjunct Jupiter, and Neptune involved on the 17th of June. So it's a little bit all smoke and mirrors, and you don't know what to make of it. And I have to say, people, especially people from abroad, so foreigners or people who come from like a different background or culture, might be unnecessarily annoying you, or they might have like this sort of like crazy like requests from you work-wise. You don't know what to make of them. They bring a lot of stress in you. You can't sleep at night because of them. This too will pass. And I have to say, if there is one thing that you can channel at this time, I would advise you to channel the Martian energy, because Mars is traveling through your first house. So what is the Martian energy like? Be decisive, be direct, be honest, and be action oriented. So make things happen. And you're very likely gonna come out top from this sort of like muddy, confusing situation. And last but not least, if you are in a partnership, in a committed partnership, run things past your partner, because you're likely going to receive very solid and very wise advice from them. Last but not least, from the 21st of June, we've got the sun entering Cancer. So all eyes will be on you. You're going to be more visible than you were throughout the year, I would say. So maybe make an effort to like dress nicely, to put a little bit of jazz into your outlook. And last but not least, on June 27th, Mercury enters Leo, and we've got Mercury in Leo for roughly a month. It is time to talk about money. It is time to talk about business, and it's very likely that you're gonna get a surge, an uptick in the number of ideas that you have related to how you can make more money and how you can get that cash flow flowing in. Let us move on to Leo. Oh my dear Leos, what is going on with you in June? So we've got an emphasis this month on your house of true love and your house of objectives, long-term plans and dreams, and also friends. So on the 3rd of June, we've got a new moon in your 11th house of friends and friendships and long-term plans and dreams. It is very possible that around the 3rd of June, you realize that you've got a new dream, you've got a new goal. It's hard to put it into practice. I'm not gonna say that it's easy. And it does seem like it will require a lot of work and dedication from you. But the good part is you do seem, so the good part and the not so great part maybe. It seems like you are gonna have to rely on money from other people to put this new dream of yours into practice. And again, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it seems that you're also going to need the support and the help of friends, because whatever it is that you've dreamt of and that you want to turn into reality is not something that you can manifest on your own. Now, the challenges around the 3rd of June, before and after, like 3-4 days before, 3-4 days after, the challenge is to find your tribe, to find the people that are able to support you, to find the people that are able to help you, to find the people that are on the same wavelength as you are. My advice is Don't be afraid to ask for help. I would also say, don't be afraid to ask for help from people who are not necessarily that close to you. So it's time to like broaden your circle of friends, and even though it might seem like very easy and very accessible for you to like go to those you know and those around you and those that you're familiar with, you're probably not gonna get anything out of them. So it's time for you to expand your circle and your tribe. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 5th house. What is the 5th house all about? The 5th house is the house of true love, romantic relationships, flings, passion. It is also the house of creativity and the house of play and entertainment. I'd say that the week with the 17th of June, so 3 days before, 3 days after, are a really good time for you to go out and have fun and possibly meet the love of your life if you're not coupled up. The love of your life might not hit you as that to start with. You might actually be a little bit like, I don't want to say disappointed, but a little bit taken aback, be like, okay, so is this seriously the person that I'm falling for? It's a good time to flirt. It is a very good time to get to know people. It's a good time to push yourself out of the boundaries of your circle of friends. So don't hide behind your friends anymore. Don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to draw attention to who you really are, because you're going to be surprised at how good a response you are going to get if you dare to do all these things. Last but not least, in June, from the 21st of June onwards, the sun moves into Cancer, which is your 12th house of retreat, relaxation, past lives. I'd say the last week of June is a fantastic time for you to go on vacation / holiday, as we like to say here in the UK. It's a good time for you to disconnect from the world. Spend time with yourself and by yourself. It's going to be very strong, very powerful, very cleansing. And who knows, you might have some sort of like revelation or two during this period, because that always happens to me. I don't know about you guys, but when I go on holiday, I'm like in a completely new mindset, and things start to make sense and they start to click into place, and I get my best ideas when I'm on holiday. So that might just happen to you as well, my dear Leo. My dear Virgos, what can you expect from the month of June? Now, the emphasis this month is going to be for you, it's going to oscillate between your home, your private life, your family, but also your career and your profession and your place in the world and your public status and what the public expects from you. Now, let's start with the new moon in Gemini on June 3rd. This is happening in your 10th house of career, my dear Virgo. Have you been waiting to get a new job? Have you been waiting to hear news about a new job? Have you been waiting to be offered that opportunity to break through? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like I've said this like 10 times in this video. I would not lie to any of you guys, but I don't really enjoy focusing on the negative side of things or on the side of things that might bring you anxiety. But this new moon can be quite stressful, my dear Virgo. So it's very likely gonna bring you a career breakthrough and a career opportunity, and it will open a new door for you, and it might be something that you've been working towards or something that you thought is not gonna happen anymore. This is the beginning of a new cycle for you career-wise. However, it will feel like this new cycle, this new beginning, is going to pull you away from, I'd say, from your family, and I'm not very happy to say that. It will feel like you have to make a compromise. It will feel hard to find a balance between home and public life. At the same time, it might not be your career holding you back. It might just be the fact that you did not want to be in the limelight, and now you find yourself in the limelight, and you are going to find yourself in a professional position that requires you to spend a lot of time with the public, and that requires you to take on a very public and prominent position in your company, for instance. And that's not your comfort zone. You prefer to operate from the background and take care of all the details and let someone else enjoy the limelight. For instance, Leo. But it will be required from you, my dear Virgo, to step it up and get in front of people. And I'd say it's likely going to be like this for the next year or so. However, please, please, please don't think that I am telling you to say no to this opportunity, because this is a once a year kind of opportunity and door that is opening up to you. And if you lose this train, if you miss this train, then you're not going to get one similar until next year. So do you want to wait for that? I don't know. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 4th house. What is happening there? Your 4th house rules your family, your home, your roots, your childhood, the place that you live in. Are you moving abroad, my dear Virgo? You've got like the best possible aspects this year till the end of December to move abroad. You also have the best possible aspects this year to buy a new home and to move into a new home, one that is bigger, very likely bigger and more, how should I put it? More luxurious, because you've got Jupiter transiting your 4th house of home and family. Equally, you might be expanding your family. So you might hear of news, let's say you're a man and you hear that your wife is pregnant. Or someone that is very close to you is expecting a baby, someone from like your close family. So the family is increasing somehow, or like moving somewhere to a new home, to a new house. Emotions will run high, as they do at every single full moon, and it might feel like you are being stretched and everyone wants a piece of you, my lovely Virgos. And as much as you enjoy pleasing people and you make it your mission to please people, it might feel like they are requesting a little bit too much. It might also feel like you don't know what your partner is expecting from you, and you don't know how they feel about this new house / new family kind of situation. Do sit down with them, do be honest and open to them. And last but not least, even though there is a lot of confusion at this time, and it might feel like you don't know what cards are on the table, so you don't know how to operate and keep it all under control, which might cause you quite a bit of stress. I'm not gonna lie. I said it like the 11th time, guys. Do employ your common sense, Virgo, and try to make a plan. And be flexible for that plan to change, but it's always better to have a plan and maybe like a couple bullet points on a piece of paper, and you can take it from there. If anything, it's gonna make your partner feel better about it, and they're not gonna be so anxious themselves about this whole new house situation. Now let us move on to Libra, my lovely Libras. What can you expect from June? So this month is going to have a very, very strong emphasis for you on education. Education, higher education in particular, university, graduation, more education, more courses, more classes. You're going to feel stretched this month. You are also probably going to take on a little bit more than you thought you would to start with, or you're going to be forced somehow to take on a little bit more than you thought you would. It's also a month in which your social life is going to be on overdrive. And whilst you do love to be surrounded by people, and you are like the master of the art of conversation, and you are such a joy to be around, you might feel a little bit depleted this month by all the chit chat and by all the social conventions that you have to abide by, and the fact that you need to be nice to everyone. It can be all quite draining. Now, it's all gonna start on June the 3rd with a new moon in your 9th house. This is a fantastic time. This is a great week for you to travel. Now, the journey itself can be quite eventful, but I would say it's absolutely worth it, because it is likely going to open up new opportunities for you. Or if not that, then at least, I say at least, but it's actually no small feat, it will at least introduce you to people who can bring opportunities to you later down the line. So even though it might be like, oh, this is so exhausting, this is too much, I can't deal with any more social events, don't discourage yourself. Power through it, because it's gonna be worth it. And you might like find investors to like support your education, or support like your travels, or support your social endeavors. I would also say you've got the full support of your family in whatever is happening this month. So even though you may be quite like stressed and high strung, it's always good to fall back on your family. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is the house of siblings. Are you gonna hear news from a sibling? Possibly. Are they gonna do something crazy? Possibly, or at least it might sound crazy to you. You might also have to travel at the very last minute. You might also be forced to like make up your mind about something at the very last minute. And last but not least, you might also take some sort of exam, or like finish up a course around the 17th of June. This month is about education, Libra, and about meeting new people and seeing how they can open up new doors for you. If it does feel to you that you're taking advantage of people, fret not. Other people are taking advantage of us all the time, even though they might not be taking advantage of us openly. Everyone has something to gain from any sort of like exchange with a different person. So stop feeling guilty about it. You don't always have to like offer something of yourself to the other person. It's good to accept things, and it's good to make peace with the fact that we're in a constant state of exchange with others. Now, let us move on to Scorpio. What can you expect from June, my dear Scorpio? So we've got an emphasis this month on a topic that is, how should I put it? It's not the easiest topic to deal with out there, because it's very closely related to power. We have an emphasis on the 2nd house and 8th house axis, which is the axis of money and power, and money that we give to other people, and the power that we are willing to share with other people, and how much control we are willing to give away in order to maintain the relationship with another person. So on the 3rd of June, we've got a new moon in Gemini in your 8th house. Fabulous. The 8th house is just fabulous. It's the house of crisis. It's the house of other people's money. It is the house of hidden skeletons in the closet. It's the house of taxes. So you might have to pay your taxes this month, my dear Scorpio. You might have to pay what you owe to like some sort of like institutions. You might also hear news of some sort of funding that you applied for, and the fact that it was approved. But there is a caveat. This is a very tense new moon, I have to say this. And we've got Neptune involved, which tends to confuse things and throw some sort of like illusionary veil over things and make them come across as as something that they are not. I have to say, you might realize that there is a lot more that you need to give away, and that you need to do in order to benefit from this pot of money that is being offered to you. It may have to do with you creating something, or of you embarking on some sort of like creative process that is not what you thought you would do with the money, or is not what you had in mind. Maybe you have no idea what you're gonna do about it, so you're just gonna like say yes to the cash and then figure something out. It is also a time for a new beginning when it comes to your fears and your traumas and your pain and the sort of like crisis that you've dealt with throughout your life. So this new moon shines a light on all the crisis that we've gone through, and all the pain that you've had to endure and that you like swept underneath the rug. It might bring all these things to light. And actually, you might make a conscious decision around this time, so a few days before the 3rd of June, a few days after, that you're going to approach things from a very, very different perspective. Now, what that perspective is going to be, I can't tell you. But what I can tell you is that it will interfere with your capacity to have fun. It might actually also interfere with a romantic relationship that you are into. So this new moon can actually stress out the exchange of power in a romantic relationship that you are into, and you might have some sort of revelation around how much you are willing to give and how much you are willing to take from the other person. It can also be the ending of a relationship and the beginning of a new relationship, but the ground is not steady. The waters are muddied and things are in flux. So I'll let you sleep on that, Scorpio. Now, on the 17th of June, though, we've got a full moon in the 2nd house. The 2nd house rules your values, it rules the money that you make, it rules your income, and it also rules the things that you think of yourself as being valuable for. And it's also a house that indicates what other people think that you are worthy for. I'd say around this time you're likely going to be paid for something that you've put a lot of effort into delivering and developing. However, it's also very possible that some of the money that you're making you're going to have to give away to someone else, be it someone that you are in a relationship with, or be it in the form of like taxes, insurances, or it might just be that like some sort of like friend needs a loan and you can't say no to them, even though let's say you might want to say no to them, but you just can't. Last but not least, it might also be the case that a chapter related to money is coming to an end around this time, and you have to come up with a new way to make money, come up with a new source of income, or change your mindset around money and how you approach it for the next year, because you might have been very much you might have been attracting a lot of money this year, my dear Scorpio, but it probably went away as fast as it came your way as well. So maybe it's high time you like opened up a savings account, or decided to like pay a lot more conscious attention to your finances, because you can't just always rely on attracting and manifesting money. So that's definitely one way to look at it. Now let us move on to Sagittarius. My lovely Sagittarians, what can you expect from the month of June? So we've got a new moon in Gemini happening in your 7th house, and we've got a full moon happening on the 17th of June in your 1st house. The emphasis this month for you is on partnerships. Hands down, partnerships. Hands down, your partner is going to require a lot more attention from you than they have ever required. You might actually decide around the 3rd of June to make a partnership official, because your significant other is like, what are we? Who are we? Are we just like casually dating? Are we friends with benefits? I want this to be I want a commitment from you. So you might have your partner pushing you against a wall, be like, this can't go on like that, like this. So we have to move on to the next phase in our relationship. So you might actually make a commitment to the person that you are with. It's very likely that you're gonna feel a little bit anxious about the commitment that you need to make, because you might feel like it's going to it's gonna set some boundaries in terms of your freedom and liberty and how much you can expand yourself. But that's fine. That's fine, Sagittarius. You can still expand yourself as long as you choose the right person to be next to. No one's going to interfere with your desire to explore the world and become the wisest person out there. Last but not least, it is also very possible that you're going to move in this month with your significant other. Now, if you're not planning to move in with your significant other, then you might find that your family is not necessarily as appreciative as you thought they would be of your new relationship. So you might not know where you stand. Similarly, it might be your partner's family that you don't know how to deal with, and you don't know if they've got your back or not, or if they're just gonna stab you in the dark. But all in all, the emphasis this month, Sagittarius, don't forget, is on your partner. Now, on the 17th of June, though, we've got a full moon happening in your first house. Now, be very careful. If you've got any sort of like affliction around the full moon, it's likely going to flare up and you might get like an acute attack of, I don't know, God knows what, like kidney stones or something like that. But what I'm going to say is probably the anxiety and the flare-up is happening at a mental level, and you're going to start doubting yourself and be like, am I good enough? Is this who I actually am? Do I need to change anything about myself? And does my partner accept me as I am? Now that is the $1,000,000 question. You might have to like have a very serious and sincere and honest talk with your partner around their expectations from you. Last but not least, from the 21st of June onwards, we've got an emphasis on your 8th house, the house that governs shared resources, the money that we share with others, most likely a partner, shared accounts, taxes. You might have to like pay your tax after the 21st of June, or you might receive some sort of like gift after the 21st of June till the end of the month. That's because Cancer also rules your house of gifts. And that's it for Sagittarius. My dear Capricorns, what can you expect from the month of June? Now, the emphasis for you guys is gonna be mainly on spending time on your own versus spending too much time at work, which is something that you're very likely guilty of because, hey, you are Capricorns after all. The sign best well known as the workaholic of the zodiac. I mean, I think you're competing for that spot with Virgo, but it's a close call. Now, on the 3rd of June, we've got a new moon in Gemini happening in your 6th house of day-to-day work. What's happening over there? So new moons are new beginnings. Symbolically, they represent a new beginning. So it might be that finally, like 3 days before, 3-4 days before the new moon, or 3-4 days after, you hear of news related to your workplace or related to a coworker. So you might have like a new coworker starting off, and you're gonna have to like train them and teach them and mentor them. It's also very likely that you might hear of changes in the workplace, maybe well, no, I say maybe, very likely changes that you are not necessarily the most comfortable with, because they might bring even more a responsibility to you. And when you thought you could spend a little bit more time on your own and sifting through the heaps of responsibility that you've got already, something else comes on your plate. Now, it's also a time when you might actually start off a new job, and you can be quite stressed about the new beginning job-wise, because you want to do the best possible work that you can do, because you are, after all, your biggest critic, so you can be stressed out about the things that you don't know, but you're very likely gonna learn. So chill, Capricorn, please chill. It's gonna be fine. You don't need to worry too much about that. I would also recommend that you take a very flexible approach towards anything that's happening in your workplace at this moment in time. I'd say ride with the wave, because there's not much you can do about changing the wave. So keep yourself in a very flexible, adaptable mode and take in whatever is thrown at you, and don't try to exert too much control, because it's not going to work this month. It might work for you in general, but it's not going to work this month, especially when it comes to controlling your external environment. Geesh, you are in for such a big disappointment, especially work-wise, especially related to external circumstances. So you are going to be challenged, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be good. Don't worry about it. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon happening in your 12th house. My advice, whenever we've got activity in someone's 12th house, I say take a holiday. Take a break, Capricorn. Don't allow the external environment to break you. You might feel very much internally challenged and feel a lot of pressure on you work-wise. You don't have to. You genuinely don't have to. I say try to step away as much as possible from your day-to-day routine. Try to mix up your routine, because you are a routine, disciplined type of person. Try to also try not to be phased if your routine has to change. But my advice, take a break. Go on vacation somewhere, even if it's just for a few days before or after the full moon. But I would highly recommend that you take the day off on the full moon. If possible. If you've made your plans to take it off already, good for you. You've sensed the timing correctly. It might feel like you're not as motivated as you used to be by the work that you have been doing, and it might seem like you are hitting your head against the wall and you are reaching a dead end. Now, if that's the case, then you do probably need to spend a little bit of time on yourself, with yourself, on your own, and don't make any rash decisions before or after the full moon. Give it a few days to calm down. After the 21st, the 22nd, I'd say start thinking about the plan of action, because whatever you decide around the full moon, it's way too emotionally charged, and it might not necessarily be the smartest thing to do. But you might not be motivated by your work anymore, or you might question the very nature of your work, and you might be like, why am I doing these things? And what am I working so hard for? You might actually be a little bit annoyed because you might have been expecting some sort of reward work-wise, and it failed to come. If that's the case, don't be rash. Don't jump at anyone's throat, which is not something that you would do anyway, because you're not Aries. Exert caution. And whatever you decide to do take a few days to sleep on it. Last but not least, after the 21st of June, I'd say is a very good time for you to focus on your partner and your committed relationship. You've got Mars traveling that sector. You've got the Sun that's going to be traveling that sector as well after the 21st of June. So the spotlight is going to be towards the end of the month on your committed relationship and partnership, and they will need your attention. They will require your attention, so give it to them, Capricorn. Now that is Capricorn. Let us move on to Aquarius. My lovely Aquarius brothers and sisters, in case you didn't know and you're here for the very first time on my channel, I am an Aquarius sun. Just saying. Now, what is June all about for us? Well, technically, June for Aquarians is all about love. Well, most of it is all about love until the 21st of June, when it all becomes about like health and well-being and work routines. But the first 3 weeks of the month, it's all about love, love, love. And you have a new moon in Gemini happening on June the 3rd in your 5th house, Aquarians. If you're single, you are gonna meet someone, but that's only gonna happen if you are out into the world and you can actually interact with that someone, with that person. Secondly, that someone might be someone from your group of friends. If they're not from your group of friends, then your group of friends will have something to say about the someone that you meet, about your new romantic interest. They might be like, oh, that person, I don't think that's such a great idea. You might be quite annoyed with how vocal your friends are about your new romantic interests, and they are not gonna hold back on expressing any opinion that they have of them, be it positive or negative. It's not worth having a fall off with any of your friends over a new romantic interest, but you might be quite annoyed at the fact that they are not as supportive as you expected them to. So, just to put it out there. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 11th house. The 11th house is the house, it's one of the best houses out there because Aquarius governs it in the natural zodiac. So we actually govern the realm of the 11th house, which rules friends, friendships, groups of people that we are a part of that share the same ideals and life perspectives with us. It's also the house of dreams and long-term plans. I love this full moon, even though it's tense. Even though you might feel very insecure about it, it feels like something about your dream about one of your long-term dreams, something that you did not even dare think of, is materializing. It's coming to the fore, and it's going to require you to make a decision about it. What decision are you going to make about it, my dear Aquarius? You might feel scared. You might feel like you don't know everything that goes into the equation. You're not going to be able to detach yourself emotionally because emotions are going to run high and you're going to feel more emotional than you usually feel about most things. Whatever happens related to your dream at this stage in your life, and especially in June, I say embrace it. Because full moons are culminations and they bring rewards to those who have worked hard, and they bring disappointments to those who haven't done anything for their dream. So you've still got time to do something for your dream, my lovely Aquarius. You might hear back from something that you applied for, or maybe you finally become part of the group that you always wanted to become a part of, and that group is formed of people who are going to be able to support you with your dream. But this is a time for you to focus on your long-term plans and dreams and goals and ideals. Maybe you're going to decide that the dream that you've always been chasing is not worth it, or you need to reevaluate it because it no longer feels relevant or right for you. It's going to be hard for you to let go of it, but the more you hang on to things, the more you are actually stalling your progress. So if it's time to let it go, Aquarius. Now, after the 21st of June, we've got an emphasis on Cancer. Cancer rules your 6th house. We've also got Mars in Cancer. You're going to have to put in a lot of work after the 21st of June, Aquarius, because you're going to have more work commitments than you usually do. And you're going to have to put a lot of energy into your work as well. Don't forget to get plenty of rest and get plenty of sleep. Last but not least, you might become very competitive work-wise around the 21st of June, and you might actually have to deal with the odd quarrel with coworkers, whilst you generally are one of the most congenial signs out there, and you get along well with everyone. that's because you don't get very much involved with people. You might actually get quite annoyed with your work colleagues or with a specific work situation after the 21st of June. So be very careful not to let that short temper that we are very well known for go crazy. And that is Aquarius. Now, Pisces, my lovely Pisceans, what does the month of June have in store for you? This is very much a month that is focused on the home versus career axis. So home versus professional life, private life, public life. So on the 3rd of June, we've got a new moon happening in your 4th house of home, family, roots, childhood, and the past. Now, it is a tense month. I'm very well aware of that. So June is not the easiest of months for any sign out there. And that's because we've got Neptune murking the water, muddying the waters, both at the new moon time and the full moon time. So whatever you learn around these periods of time, so around the 3rd of June related to your home and around the 17th of June related to your profession, to your career, it's probably not going to be the full picture. If things sound too good to be true, they probably are. Be very careful not to allow con people or not to allow people who are trying to manipulate you into doing things get the better of you. Dig a little bit deeper. I might be like a bit harsh when I say this, but Pisceans tend to see the best in people, and most Pisceans tend to see the best in people, and because they empathize so much with people, they also see like where they're coming from. But be careful not to overly identify with other people and not to be too gullible this month, because there is a very, very strong chance that you are going to take something at face value and actually it's not what it seems at all. So around the 3rd of June, if you're moving into a new house, I would say please check the contract, read it like 10 times. Don't be afraid to be excessively thorough. I actually advise you to be excessively thorough around this time. Now, any sort of like change that is happening in your home sector, I would say dig deeper into it and have everyone who is involved, have them like sat down and discuss every single aspect of the matter, because there is something that is escaping your view. And you do not want any sort of like rogue elements coming out of the woodworks further down the line. It's a good time to move into a new home. You're probably going to have a lot of things to sort out, a lot of things to sift through. It's going to be quite annoying because your work and your profession is also going to need you quite a lot this month. Your boss might need you quite a lot this month. They might have like more demands than usual from you this month. So it's likely going to be an anxious and anxiety-filled month for you, Pisces. Take time to like unwind, sit down, do that thing with the escapism that you do, disconnect and merge and run away from the world, at least for a couple of days if you can. Now, on the 17th of June, we've got a full moon in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of career and profession and public life. You might finally be rewarded for all the hard work that you've put into your career. You might also hear news related to your boss or to an authority figure. They might be leaving, or they might be deciding to focus more on their family rather than on work. Now, this leaves a lot of questions and a lot of unanswered questions, I would say, related to your position at work. My advice is to wait at least for a few days before you start like sitting down with your boss, asking all the questions that are like at the back of your head and that don't allow you to sleep at night. There is change happening at work. It's very likely going to be big change. because we've got Jupiter involved. Jupiter is opposing the sun at the time of the full moon, and Jupiter it magnifies things. You might also feel like there is a spotlight on you and on your career around this time. It's not gonna feel very friendly, I admit, but you can handle it. You absolutely can handle it, and you've got your words with you, you've got your intuition with you. Don't make any rash decisions career related around this time though, because that is an actual challenge, an actual danger around this point. Last but not least, after the 21st of June, the emphasis is on your 5th house of true love and romantic relationships and children. If you've got children, do focus on them after the 21st of June. Maybe go on holiday with them, save some time in your diary to spend time with them and play with them. If you don't have children, go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. I think I mentioned holiday like 10 times in this video. Do go on holiday after the 21st of June. You're also very likely gonna get like hot and sweaty and steamy with a potential romantic partner, because you've got Mars traveling your 5th house of romantic relationships this month. There's a lot of potential for flirting and hooking up. I wouldn't say that it only runs for like the last week in June. I'd say the potential for hookups is very strong throughout the entire month of June. So do with that what you want, my lovely Pisces. And that is it, guys. Now, if you've got any questions about your June horoscopes, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you are interested in a personalized horoscope based on your date, time, and place of birth, if you want to know what is awaiting you in the next year, do get in touch with me, because I offer as a service a 1-year personalized horoscope, so a 1-year transits chart, so that you can map things out, time them accordingly, know when to apply for that job, know when love is coming your way, or when's a good time to like go out and put yourself out there. So do get in touch with me. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys, and I shall see you next time. Bye.